In a quiet mountain village, surrounded by deep forests and snow-capped peaks, lived a young man named Tarek. Tarek had dreams, big ones. He often spoke of building the strongest house, becoming a master woodcutter, and traveling to cities beyond the mountains. But there was one problem: he was incredibly lazy. Every morning, he woke up with grand plans in his head. Today would be different. Today he would fix everything. He pictured himself running, working, building a new life. He could almost feel the pride already. But by noon, he was still lying in bed, still staring at the cracks in the ceiling, still whispering the same excuse he whispered yesterday. I'll start tomorrow. And tomorrow became the next day, and the next day became a week. And slowly, without even realizing it, the weight of all the not todays grew heavier than any real failure. It wasn't laziness, it was fear. Fear of trying. Fear of failing. Fear that maybe he wasn't enough. But one afternoon, as the sun dipped low and painted the ceiling gold, a small, stubborn thought broke through. What if I just start ugly? What if it doesn't have to be perfect? What if just sitting up is enough for today? With a shaky breath, he swung his legs over the bed. The world didn't cheer. The sky didn't sing. No one noticed. But he noticed. And sometimes the smallest first step is the loudest victory of all. His father, once the strongest woodcutter in the village, grew old and weak. One evening as he coughed near the fire, he looked at Tarek and said, "Son, dreams are only seeds. Without action, they rot." Tarek nodded, as he always did. But nothing changed. One day a rumor spread. A mysterious monk had arrived in the village. They said he had climbed the mountain barefoot, in silence, and didn't ask for food or shelter. Curious villagers watched him meditate for hours beneath the old pine tree near the stream. Out of boredom, Tarek visited the monk. He approached lazily, hands in his pockets. "Are you one of those wise men who teaches how to work without getting tired?" The monk smiled. "I teach the art of winning without war. You want to win against laziness?" Tarek scoffed. "If that's possible." The monk handed him a small hourglass, its glass warm from the sun. The sand inside shimmered like tiny golden stars. "Flip this once each morning," the monk said, his voice calm as a river. "Do only one thing. One task. One effort. No phone. No talk. No break." "That's it?" Tarek raised a brow. "That's everything," the monk replied. At first, he laughed. How could something so simple fix the chaos in his mind? But the next morning, with nothing left to lose, he tried. He flipped the hourglass. The first few grains tumbled down. He sat. He worked. His hands itched to reach for his phone. His mind screamed to jump to 100 different things. But he stayed. Grain by grain. Breath by breath. At first, it felt endless. The sand moved so slowly, it was almost painful. Doubts shouted in his head, "This won't change anything. You're wasting your time." But somewhere between the beginning and the end, a silence grew. A space where only him and his effort existed. No noise, no panic, just him. And when the last grain finally fell, he realized, for the first time in a long time, he had finished something, even if it was small, even if no one saw. He smiled. Tomorrow he would flip it again, and again. By the 5th day, he started waking before the sun. By the 7th, he didn't wait for the hourglass. He just began. The villagers noticed. "Is that really Tarek?" they whispered. Weeks passed. His arms grew strong. His pile of wood towered. He fixed the fence, repaired his father's old tools, and even built a shed. Not because someone told him, but because he was winning. One night, he returned to the monk, breathless with excitement, the hourglass clutched tightly in his hands. "I've done more in 3 weeks than I have in 3 years, he cried out. His eyes shone, a mix of wonder and disbelief. Was it the hourglass magic? The monk chuckled, the kind of warm, knowing laugh that made the stars above seem to twinkle brighter. "No magic," he said gently. "You tricked your mind. You didn't fight laziness. You outsmarted it. You didn't argue with fear. You slipped past it." He leaned closer, tapping the hourglass lightly. A small task, done with full focus, is how you start. Not a mountain of goals that crush your spirit. Just one shovel of earth at a time. The boy sat down beside him, suddenly quiet. He thought of all the mornings he had once wasted under heavy blankets of guilt and excuses. He thought of the tiny victories now piling up, Finished pages, stretched muscles, ideas brought to life. The monk continued, his voice soft but steady. Dreams are heavy if you only carry them in your mind. But when you plant them in action, shovel by shovel, they grow roots. They grow wings. Tarek held the hourglass to his chest and whispered, I thought I needed motivation, but I only needed motion. You don't overcome laziness by waiting for energy. You overcome it by starting small, showing up daily, and letting momentum carry you forward. The secret is motion, not motivation.